Hello friends, good evening to all of you. Welcome to Initiate Cycle Initiative. In today's video, we are going to discuss a topic that is Kerala government and borrowings. This is the name of the topic. In this particular video, we are going to examine following topics. Okay, so first one is why it is in news. Here we are going to understand about context. Then spending priority of the union government and state government, like what types of spending, developmental expenditure, non-developmental expenditure, like that. Then trends in union as well as the state budget expenditure. What is the case of Kerala? Borrowing by the state government of Kerala, why their borrowings are very high, and case for great market borrowings by the Kerala government, why Kerala government is demanding for greater autonomy in market borrowings, and concerns regarding Kerala's budgetary expenditure, and finally way ahead. These are the topics we are going to discuss in this particular video. First, let me introduce the context to you. Before that, syllabus mapping. This topic is related to Indian polity and governance, that is GS paper 2. Context is, in the recent development, government of India government of Kerala has approached to Supreme Court on a particular issue, that is, can state government, that means how much a state government borrow from the market to bridge the excess of its expenditure over the receipts. That means when state government expenditure higher than the receipts, how much extent a state government can borrow. That is the Kerala government question. Actually, there is one principle now, that is according to the FRBM Act 2003. According to FRBM Act, a state cannot borrow more than 3% of the GSDP. But now the Kerala is questioning about central government excessive control over the state. This matter referred to constitution bench by the Supreme Court. Tell me students, what is the minimum bench strength of constitution bench? What is the minimum bench strength of constitution bench? Next, first let me explain the concept to you. Here we have to understand that the relation between the union government and state government, union government and state government, okay. Between the union government and state government, what are the financial relations? We try to understand. Financial relations between union government and state government. First thing is tax devolution. That means certain amount of the taxes which are collected and which are levied by the union government, but that will be distributed between the center as well as the state. This tax devolution will be according to Article 280. That is, Finance Commission will give recommendation regarding the tax devolution. And now 16th Finance Commission recently appointed by the President. Tell me students, who is the chairman of the 16th Finance Commission? And the second one is distribution of grants between the center and states. This is the second one. And third one, states cannot borrow money from outside of the country, but union government can. That means borrowing limits, borrowing jurisdiction. And if states would like to borrow money from outside of the country, then they can borrow only on the sovereign guarantee. That means union government has to provide the guarantee for the borrowing. Then regarding the financial emergency, during the financial emergency, additional conditions can be imposed on the state government. How? During the financial emergency, President can order the state government that whatever the money bills and financial bills passed by the state legislature, those bills can be reserved to President. So President can give such kind of directions, and President can also give directions that the salaries of the state executive can be lowered. So that is the relation during the financial emergency. So these are the relations between the center and state with respect to financial relations. Okay, with respect to financial relations. Now, the Kerala government is saying that their expenditure is somewhat higher than their income, and they would like to go beyond the allowed limits. At the moment, according to FRBM Act, state can borrow up to 3% of the GSDP, like I said earlier. In this context, we have to understand what are the spending priorities of the union as well as the state. The spending priorities of the union government as well as the state governments, they are guided by their constitutionally allocated powers as well as the functions. For example, union government is having more autonomy regarding the fixing of taxation as well as the tax related income, whereas state governments, they have very limited role with respect to deciding the taxes, but their obligation towards expenditure in the social sector is very high regarding the states. Okay, for example, if you look at the budget 2020 to 2023, union government spending in social services is around 2230 billion rupees, whereas all the states in India, their expenditure on social services is around 19,182 billion rupees. So here the 2000 and here the 19,000, you can understand how much state's obligation is there towards the social service. On the other side, on the contrary, central government obligation is more towards defense as well as construction of highways, where the central government is spending almost 2 times and 2.5 times compared to the state governments. So this is what the spending priorities between the center as well as the state. Next, according to the RBI categorized the expenditure done by the union government as well as the state government into 2 ways. One is developmental expenditure, the other one is a non-developmental expenditure. First, developmental expenditure includes expenditure on services such as both social as well as the economic services. Here, social service includes expenditure on the health, expenditure on the education, all these expenditure counted as developmental expenditure on social services. Then, developmental expenditure on economic services like expenditure on agriculture, industry, these comes under the expenditure on economic services. And non-developmental expenditure includes whatever the expenditure related to interest payments, pensions, salaries, subsidies, all these include the non-developmental expenditure. So here the developmental expenditure by the state governments nowadays that is increasing. That means states expenditure on both social as well as the economic developmental expenditure, it is increasing. How can we say that? Let's see. In 2004 and 5, all the states developmental expenditure in terms of their GSDPs, it is around 8.8%. Now the developmental expenditure is increased to 12.5%. On the other hand, the social and developmental expenditure by the union government, it remain unchanged. That means to reduce the poverty and to provide the more livelihood opportunities, regarding that states are contributing a lot compared to union government, because states are pushing expenditure more on the social services so that more employment opportunities are getting generated and even the more human capital is also getting generated. Okay, this is what we have to understand. We cannot simply say that states are borrowing very high, because states' obligations are also very high. States are the one which first exposed to the people expectations. Now regarding the case of Kerala. Before we understand the case of Kerala, first we have to know what are the revenue sources for states. States can earn through various sources. Let's see. Revenue sources of state government. So how state governments can raise money? The first way is state owned tax revenue. Okay, SOTR it is called as, state getting money from its own taxes. The second one is tax share by finance commission. I told you there will be taxable devolution between the center and state, tax devolution. So that is the second source. And third one is regarding the commercial borrowings. These commercial borrowings generally from public sector banks and sometimes insurance company, and sometimes it may be from other corporations as well. So these are the major revenue sources of state governments, we have to understand. Next, in the case of Kerala provided, so how the government can spend money on the social services. Kerala was on the forefront regarding the expenditure on the social service, and since 1960s and till the recent times of 2000, they used to spend around 40% to 50% out of their total expenditure on the development of the social service. That is the reason they achieved a remarkable progress in terms of the health indicators as well as the education. And even you might have known that Kerala achieved very remarkable progress even in the local government's development as well. Next, this proportion was way ahead compared to the average of other states. That means Kerala expenditure profile is very high in terms of the social expenditure. And borrowings by the state governments of Kerala, any state, it can borrow, it can get money in these three particular ways. In 2020-2021, Kerala government debts sharply increased around 18% of the GSDP, and to provide what? To provide the economic relief during the time of COVID-19. Actually, this 18% of GSDP means taxes will cover certain amount of the money. After its taxes are covered, the net debt out of the GSDP, it will be around 3.4% of the GSDP. But according to the FRBM, it should be 3%. Now the union government is claiming this figure, that Kerala government, their debt is beyond the FRBM, so now they can't provide any relief. That is what union government is claiming. As a ratio of GSDP, union government transfer to Kerala declined to 2.8% in 23-24, significantly lower than the previous years. Actually, this is also the matter of concern. Kerala is raising that what they are supposed to get, there is a decrease in that kind of money as well. Okay, and even the state's own tax revenue, it remain around 8%. So 8% their own revenue, 2.8% they are getting from the center, that means around 10.8%, and their debt is around 18%. After removing certain other revenue also, the around state government, they have to fill around 3.4% of the debt in GSDP. That means their debt in GSDP is around 3.4%, which is crossing more than 3%, which is crossing the 3% limit according to FRBM. This is the Kerala case. So why? The Kerala borrowed much money from the market borrowings, because Kerala expenditure profile and Kerala spending in the recent days, Kerala spending on the pensions and salaries also increased. That means Kerala spending on the non-developmental expenditure is also increased. It is around 16.4% in the total developmental expenditure. That means their expenditure on developmental expenditure is reducing and expenditure related to non-developmental expenditure is increasing. What is the way ahead? The way ahead is Kerala contending that by curtailing its borrowing powers, central government is undermining the Kerala's ability to provide its basic financial commitments. This is a Kerala question. And Kerala is also questioning that it is union government is excessively interfering into the state's autonomy. And many of the developmental works of the Kerala now they are facing the issues. And here Kerala now experiencing the aging population and large spending on the pensions and spending on the youth. So these problems may be faced by other states also soon. So the Kerala, whatever the problems facing by Kerala now, it may be the case for other states also in coming days. Therefore, union government and state governments, they should join hand in hand. They have to work, solution for this kind of issues. Then only we can achieve the dream of the cooperative federalism. Yesterday's video question: which of the Indian states share the border with the China? Jammu Kashmir, Sikkim, West Bengal and Arunachal Pradesh. D. Which of the states sharing border? So which states? Jammu Kashmir, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, these three are sharing border with China. Next, today's video question. Today's question is, which of the following country first to introduce zero-based budgeting? Mains question. Discuss the contours of fiscal federalism in India. That means what are the issues of fiscal federalism in India? What measures can address? What kind of measures you can take so that imbalances, what kind of the financial imbalances can be sorted out and we can achieve the cooperative federalism. This is the main question. Now, as we reach to the end of this video, in this video particularly, we mainly discussed about So what are the center-state relations regarding the financial terms, and what are the ways through which a state can earn the money, and the issue regarding the Kerala, why the Kerala's requiring more money, and the developmental expenditure profile of the both union government as well as state government also be discussed. So this is the detailed analysis regarding the Kerala's request for more borrowings and their petition in the Supreme Court. I hope this video is useful to you. Thanks for watching this video. Have a great day. Jai Hind.